There is a massive event going on in the Messages app, but there is a catch. Apple has secretly started testing end-to-end encryption for RCS in the first developer release of iOS 18.4. That sounds like a big step forward for secure texting on paper. But what about now? It only works with iPhones. People who use Android still can't get in. Let's take a closer look at what this entails. What Apple is working on right now. In the iOS 18.4 developer beta, people who test it can add a new toggle for RCS encryption in settings. See a lock icon in the Messages app. Check to see if a discussion is safe. But here's the most important part. Right now, the encryption only works for iPhone-to-iPhone chats that use phone numbers, which is usually when iMessage isn't available or is turned off. Yes, there is encrypted RCS, but only in Apple's ecosystem. The walls of the garden are still standing. Why this is important for green bubbles. RCS is the new version of SMS and MMS. It gives indicators for typing, receipts for reading, and sharing photos and videos of good quality. Better messaging for groups. Apple added support for RCS in iOS 18.1. However, it didn't have encryption that worked on all platforms. Apple is now pushing those green bubbles closer to the security of iMessage, but not when texting Android devices. That's when things get tricky. It's not easy to encrypt data across platforms. Android's Messages app has supported person-to-person RCS encryption for a long time, but getting two huge ecosystems to work together requires a lot of work. You have to cope with key exchange rules, systems for verifying identity, behaviors that happen when something goes wrong, many carriers around the world, and multiple device companies. Situations where you can roam, different ways to set up SIM cards. Apple and Google both use session-based encryption that is linked to device keys. It is difficult from a technical point of view to make that work well on all systems. The RCS Universal Profile is the standard in the industry. Universal Profile 2.4 was used for Apple's first RCS launch, but it didn't provide end-to-end encryption. The updated Universal Profile 3.0 adds modern encryption rules, better handling of media, better support for group texting. Apple's current testing strongly suggests a trend toward the updated profile. But for true interoperability, it's not enough to just update the software. The carrier backends and network infrastructure must also be in sync. And carriers have to strike a balance between controlling spam, requirements for legal interception, and guarantees of privacy. This isn't as easy as flipping a switch. The big picture. RCS is no longer a specialty. RCS now serves more than 1 billion users every month, according to Google. As it becomes the default texting layer for modern devices, leaving cross-platform discussions unencrypted would make it clear that there is a security hole. That's why Apple's move is important. Market research firms say that Android is the operating system for most smartphones throughout the world, while iOS is the most popular in the high-end market. Encrypted interoperability between those two ecosystems affects billions of messages sent every day. It's not just about the green bubbles. It's about the future of mobile privacy. What users will really notice? You might see a toggle and a padlock, but for now, nothing seems different for regular users. Apple, carriers, and manufacturers are stress testing the encryption layer behind the scenes. What's next to watch? 3 signs will show progress. Apple lets you negotiate keys between iPhone and Android. Carriers are ready for Universal Profile 3.0, and full encryption parity becomes available. Apple has said that a future update will include complete RCS end-to-end encryption. The headline? Secure RCS is coming. What about the footnote? Android needs to wait a little longer. Apple will probably roll this out in stages, but when the padlock finally shows up, that's when texting moves to the next level. If this helped, please like, share, and subscribe to learn more about the technology that affects your daily digital life.